assuming that this is Joan, and we do know that she's our mother. And you are all witnessing a very historic event here today, because not only are we celebrating Mom's 90th birthday, but you've all heard now absolutely the longest talk you'll ever hear Bob give, ever. And you're about to hear the shortest I'll ever give. But as my brothers preceded me, the four of us have a lot to be thankful for. And our mom. And personally, my mother's given me a great deal. Not the least of which are three great brothers. We give each other a bad time out of love and friendship. And Bob told a couple stories on himself about how rough he was on especially me, and that's true.
And I was younger.
But as we've grown older, we've become actually better friends than even brothers. And I love all three of my brothers. The thing that I think about in the days leading up to this, the one word that has always come to me, and one of them mentioned it already, when I think of my mother, if one word describes her, it's her faith. She was an example to us of faith in God, faith in family, and she really had to have faith in each of us, especially me, because I think it's safe to say I've made the most mistakes. Of course, I was the oldest, so I didn't have anybody to follow, but that's no excuse. And she saw me through a lot of immaturity and just downright errors. Three marriages.
But now it's permanent. You ain't getting out of it.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, you can relax now.
I know this is going to shock all of you, because you all see Dorothy as so bashful and so soft-spoken. But believe it or not, I've heard that before. But it's true. But this faith that my mother has is unbelievably strong. And if the four of us have had successes, and I guess we've had, I think each one of us knows why. And that's her. That's not to shortchange my dad at all. He was a great provider. He taught us discipline. My mother taught us discipline too, but in a much, much softer way. And she interceded for us many times. So that probably the number of spankings that we should have gotten from my dad were far fewer than we deserved. But I think Joe said it, she's been an example to us in so many ways. There's so many anecdotes that I thought about sharing, but one does come to my mind lots of times during my life. And that's when, and Bob was talking about being an altar. What is it again?
Server.
Altar server.
Well, we got to get to it.
Well, of course, in our day, there was altar boy.
Thank you.
And fortunately, females. Females got in on, and they really should get, I believe this, they should get in on a lot more, whether it's in the church or outside the church. But anyway, I think that's 5th grade. Is it? Second grade? Altar boys?
You don't even have your first grade.
Couldn't be second grade because you had to have first grade, so you had to be opposite.
Well, that's my memory.
One of our problems together is memory. Let's just, for the sake of argument, say it was 5th grade. I think it was. And in those days, only the elders of us that can remember this, fortunately, that health problems aren't treated the same way today as they were then. But in those days, if you were exposed, and that could be a very superficial exposure to, I'm not sure what the diseases were. I think mumps was one, and maybe chicken pox. And do you remember, Mom?
Measles.
Measles, definitely. And I don't know which one I was exposed to, but the quarantine sign went on your door. And the health officer of the city nailed it to the door, and you were under house arrest, you might say, for at least 2 weeks. And when I was quarantined for whichever of these maladies there was, for 2 weeks, it just happened to be the 2 weeks that the priest and the nuns were giving the instruction to the boys for being altar boys. And I, being a real baby about it, cried to my mother probably 48 hours straight about all my classmates are going to move ahead and they're all going to be altar boys and I'm going to have to wait until the next year and so forth. And as you all know about Grandma, there's only a few subjects or a few times that she will say something with real authority, not strength. I started to say strength. The strength is always there, but in a different tone of voice than we usually associate with strength. But she sat me down at the kitchen table after, I'm sure, having enough of this behavior on my part. And she said, "Dick, you and I will learn the Latin Mass." And when I got back to school 2 weeks later, I was way ahead of everybody else that had been studying. Not because I'm so smart,
But you are.
but I am. Thank you. Who said that?
Mary.
Christine.
Was it Mary or Christine?
Christine.
Oh.
She knows you well.
Because I was just going to pay Mary a compliment that even on a sick day but her daughter's even quicker. But it was all because, what I'm trying to say is, it was all because of Mother. So,
You learned it in 2 weeks flat. And it
I
was
did.
all in Latin.
Now they don't even do them in
now they
Latin.
don't do
don't
it.
even
Yeah,
do it.
everyone else off the hook, the future. It's a lot harder. Some of them is still once a month.
I'm back.
Oh, I knew what we were
So
saying.
I guess the reason I chose that story, and it could have been 100 others, things that my mother has done for me and us, is that all of us, since I think it was Bill mentioned, we all got through college somehow, and obviously had a lot of teachers along the way of all kinds, but none of us have ever had as good a teacher as my mother. Thank you.